Hey, you guys, I'm Eric. This is my wife, Julie. This is our friend, Lisa, and we are the Blended Life. So Lisa is one of our friends, and we actually work together and produce her YouTube series, her and her partner's YouTube
My
series.
partner. My business partner.
Yeah.
I have to clarify it for her.
For her every
Yes,
time.
Yeah.
They're called the Chick Crew. They're on YouTube, and what you guys basically, what do you guys do on the Chick Crew? It's fun.
So the Chick Crew was an idea that I came up with to empower women, and Joni made me add men. I don't know why.
Women.
Women,
Yeah.
empower women how to fix, create, build things in their home. And I wanted to add, so Joni comes from a construction background. She's been a contractor forever. She's
Right.
got a very successful construction business in the community. And I have always wanted to empower women, and I've been in leadership roles. I'm a nurse, and I've been in leadership roles for a majority of my career. And so empowering others has been a big thing for me. And so I wanted to add this duality piece to it and say it's not just going to be your average, typical how to
Screw in a light bulb.
how to screw in a light bulb YouTube video, but it's also going to have a paired life skill that we teach.
Life lessons, yeah.
Life lesson, yeah. And of course with the classic Lisa and Joni banter, our
it's
edginess.
Always fun.
Yeah, and all in fun. But the intention was to be empowering in two different ways, in a very duality or a dual mentality, and that was teaching them a physical skill and teaching them a life skill and having fun all the way.
And and like you said, it's fun all the way, and we're always having fun with this while we're doing their show, and we are going to turn this actually into a 2-part series because not only is Lisa part of a blended family and grew up part of a blended family, but she was part of, you guys had a very, very, very big event happen within your blended family that we're going to get to in part 2. And do you want to paraphrase it in like 2 sentences, like kind of what happens? Because I want people to know. I'm like, what is coming up?
Social media, juvenile hall, ankle bracelet, stepson,
big time school event,
search. Yeah, searching the house. Yeah, it was quite fun.
Yeah.
So when you think you have it hard, somebody else might have it a little bit more challenging, or you might be like, thank goodness somebody else understands our family. So, but on this episode, we're going to get to know Lisa. We're going to get to know where she comes from. We're going to get to know her blended family a little bit, and always great advice for presenting a united front and why that's important. How to connect with your stepchildren, and when to let go. When is enough, and when is peace in your marriage and in your life more important than a power struggle? So lots of good stuff coming up. Hey, you guys, so let's get started. Lisa, I'm so curious about, let's go back to the beginning of you being in a blended family and a stepmom. So tell us when that journey started for you. Like, how old were you, your kids' ages, how you met? Like, what's the beginning of your story look like?
Okay, well, first of all, I am the product of a blended family from when I was 4.
Wow.
So I have this in my memory banks. It's my muscle memory already, But
So you were a stepkid.
I was a stepkid.
And did you have nice step-parents? Did you have multiples?
I had an evil stepmother, and I had a military stepfather who adored my mother, and he was in my life since I was 4.
So you knew life. You knew no life without him.
That's correct.
All right.
And when I was 2, I adored him. I that's how the story goes. But from latter part of grammar school on, I could not exchange the same air with him in the room.
And you had to live with that.
Oh, I did, because my mom was very supportive of him and said, hey, in fact, she wanted me to call him Dad. And I was like,
oh, see, this is the good stuff. We haven't even gotten started. I have so many questions.
Right. But anyway, long story short, yes, I am the product of a blended family. And so it started when I was young, and I've always had that in the back of my mind when I met the second love of my life. The love of my life the second time. Let me rephrase that. And but anyway, I'm not going to tell you how old I was when we met, but I will tell you it was 8 years ago.
Okay, that's
okay,
fine.
So we'll just go that route. No, I don't give a shit.
Well, I don't know. Like, did it start when you were 18 and you happened into a blended family?
No,
you
no.
found, like, or is it?
No. So it was
you've had life under your belt before you entered into the step parenting.
Like, I was on the downhill slide.
Okay.
You had kids out of the house, right?
I
did. You had, how many kids do you have?
2.
Biological.
2. I have 2 biological children.
Look at this. Someone asked me how many kids I have. Like,
I know you start doing this.
No, like how many kids, like we're talking about our blended family situation. We have 4. Well, how many of them are yours? 2. Mm-hmm. Well, only one's biologically mine.
Right.
So that's even, you guys laugh about it, but I mean, there is
that's
a little twisty too,
a great reference point. You're right. Yeah. So 2 biological, boy and a girl.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then stepchildren?
2, boy and a girl.
So, and this was 8 years ago you came into the stepmom role?
Well, 8 years ago we met.
Okay.
And realized that it was going somewhere. And so we decided, after, it was about 7 months, I think, of dating, we decided to move in together.
Okay. And
I was head over heels, and I remember thinking to myself, wait a minute. There's 2 teenagers in the mix here.
Right.
Minors. 2 minors.
One yours, one his?
No, both his.
Both his. That's right. Boy and the girl.
13 and 15. 13 and 15. Just
remember
those
and those
numbers.
are hard ages
we
to
have
walk
those ages
in.
Right
we have
now.
those ages, yes.
Yeah, or ish. We were
Very
there last year.
Hard.
That was our last year, but yeah.
Yes. And, mom on their side was basically MIA.
Okay.
And so I came in at a very precarious time, especially for the 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I feel like he really had some, I don't want to say mom issues, but I think he was in that really very ambiguous stage of saying, okay, have I been rejected? Am I going to have a mom figure in my life? I didn't want him to have any female issues, like
right.
I can't trust chicks and whatever. And so I saw this very early on. He and I had a nice connection at the very beginning.
So you at least got off on like a good foot.
With him, yes. Yeah. And then with the daughter, not so much.
Okay. Teenage girls.
Oh, I'm telling you. And the sad part was, as I learned to and again, there's that muscle memory of me being a stepkid.
Yes.
I remembered that. And we made it very clear from the very beginning that, you don't have to love me. You just have to respect me. That's all I wanted her and both of them to understand.
We're so big on that.
And we are about to embark on being a family unit in a home together. So there are going to be rules, right? And that you just have to respect me. It's okay. I'm not here to replace your mom. Wherever your mom is, whatever's going on, that's fine. And I think the sad part was she felt that she was being disloyal to her mom if she were in a relationship with me.
Yeah, loyalty binds are real. Even if the parent is absent,
right?
You feel there's some sense of
like she said, loyalty. Like it's one of those things where our kids even do that right now. Later on in life, as we've all been together, we see a little bit of loyalty as they jump from household to household, and which is all right. I mean, you know that your kids at least love you,
right? Right.
But
well, even with kids who have lost a parent to death,
right?
Sorry, just real eloquent here, but they feel like they're being disloyal and dishonorable if they embrace a new person to the memory,
right?
On some level, and it's the thing that I wish kids understood in blended families is that love is not. My mom would always say, love is not a pie where there's 8 slices and that's it. love is infinite. So the more love you can have and give, like it's not that you have an infinite or a finite amount of love to give.
So love's more like a food bank.
So kids don't understand that, though.
That's very good. I like it.
Yeah, but like kids can love everyone.
For sure.
Right.
Yep.
And multiple people, and it's okay to love people differently. I wish step parents understood that. Like we have such a pressure to love these kids like our own. Well, it's an impossible expectation.
And then there becomes a fight for it.
It's still love.
We can't be loved if they love the other family, or the other step parent. And I feel like there's a lot of fighting that goes on there that is just so unnecessary.
Yeah.
We've talked about that stuff a little bit, but.
So you had this conversation with your stepchildren about we don't have to like love will grow or not, but we will have a base level respect in this house.
Absolutely. We had a
We had a
sit down family meeting.
Oh,
literally before we moved in together and said, okay, so this is how it's going to roll. And what
awesome.
I want to say one thing is that one thing that I really learned, and it was never spoken in my household growing up, but I had a friend that went through this, and it was very important. And that was that they conveyed succinctly to the kids, we are number one to each other. Do you understand that? We love you as we always love you, but you understand that in your life, you're going to come and go in our lives. As you get older, you're going to go to college, or you're going to, whatever, go to work.
Right.
You're going to move away. You're going to come back. Whatever the case may be, you're going to do your own thing. However, we are number one to each other. Okay?
That. Yes.
So you have to understand that we, the number one team, are here to make this work as best as we can. But what there has to be is respect and love, always.
Always.
Yes. And if you defy that, if something happens where you're shaking that up, if there's a chink in the armor here, we're going to go back and remind you that we are number one. And I will tell you that we had a few knockdown, drag-out fights where the kids were acting up, and they were pitting us against each other, and we had to redirect, united as parents, and remind them of that and say, listen, if this is not working for you, there's the door.
Right.
And this is, of course, when they were of the age.
Yeah.
But the other thought was, with that, was at this time, they were starting to go back and forth to the mom now.
Okay.
So I was like, listen, you don't like this here? You can stay with mom full-time if you'd like. But this is how we roll in this house, and it's not crazy. But
it's not unreasonable.
It's not unreasonable in any way, shape, or form. You've got responsibilities. Yes. End of story. That's it.
Yeah.
So, that we are number one speech really, I think, made it very clear.
And I think it commands respect.
It does.
And I think that's what that a lot of marriages and step parents in particular have a hard time with, the lack of respect and the lack of being a team united with their spouse. And so what I love about your story is that you guys presented a united front, but so often, do you have advice about how to get on the same page? Like, did you guys ever not have a united front? Because listen, like when there's different parenting styles, and even saying to the kids united, like, if you don't like it here, there's the door, is a very scary thing for a bio parent. I think step parents have it a little bit like, not that you're not bonded, but I think it's a fear for bio parents that they're actually going to walk out that door.
Right.
But I don't know. Like,
was it easy for you guys? Like, how did it all work out?
No. We still fight. We've been married for 6 years now.
Okay.
Been together for 8. Weathered the blended family living situation. And no, the only time we fight is about the kids. Still to this day. Now, I will tell you, let me tell you this, though. Yes. They are getting better.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're
that's
getting
good.
milder, and we're able to stop it before it really escalates and gets heated, and to say, okay, really, what is the bottom line here?
Right.
What's the deal? But going back to the advice piece, you had said about different parenting styles, which I about choked when you said it, because that was the other thing. And had I realized when we had that sit down talk when we initially got together, had I realized how different we were, night and day in our parenting styles. That would be another piece that I would have brought to the table and said, okay, listen. But I did say to them, I think I am very different with my kids than Joe was with you. And the thing that is good and bad about that is that I was hard on my kids. I expected them to do things, and you do it, and that's it. Right. And if you didn't do it, guess what? There's consequences for not doing it. Whereas that's not the case on the other side. So the consistency piece, and so I know that their butts were puckering when we had that conversation. They were like, "Oh crap, here we go!" Right?
Yeah.
But the one piece of advice I had was that in that, I guess I want to say loyalty piece, where if I had an issue with, let's say, I did have a lot of issues with my stepson as far as following through on the minor chores that we gave him to do.
Like take out the trash.
Like keep your room clean, clean your bathroom.
Yeah.
Take out the trash. Yeah. Walk the dogs.
Normal stuff.
I mean, easy.
Yeah,
I mean,
normal.
it's 8-year-old chores for a, 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay. And when he wouldn't do it, and I'd get crazy frustrated, and then there would be no consequence for not doing it.
Right.
Or he'd bark. His dad would bark something, but then he'd never bite. So he'd say, I'm going to take your phone away, which
And
I know would hit him below the belt, and then he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So then there I was, evil Cruella saying,
the evil stepmom.
I'm sorry, what's going on here?
Right.
So I would get behind my husband and say, okay, you need to talk to him. He's not doing, you need to talk. Okay, today you need to talk to him. You need to get on him. He needs to have consequences. You need to go. And what I found was it was increasing the tension because my husband was having a hard time doing that because I'm asking him to be a different parent than what he was.
And now he's stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Because he can't do it. And I finally, after I got to tell you, probably 20 arguments.
Yeah.
The light bulb came on and I thought, okay, you need to just get out of my way.
Yeah, I'm going to do this my damn self.
Let me clear this. I'm going to talk to him like my son. We're going to have this come to Jesus conversation. And I'm going to say, listen, remember that conversation we had that I'm going to be hard on you like I am on my own kids, but I will take a bullet for you. Here's where we are. And so I did that. And I got to tell you, we have the best relationship now because of that. He comes to me about everything. We talk about everything. And the beautiful thing is we can banter. If he disagrees with me, I welcome him to say, I disagree, and this is why, or whatever.
He's got a voice. He's got an opinion.
Absolutely. But the point was I took out the filter, and that's one piece of advice that I would say, just take it on. You got to do the work. In any relationship, you have to do the work. And we all know that a blended family is probably one of the hardest things we'll ever do. Seriously.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because it's all throughout your life together with this person.
And there's no real manual for it. It's all just
No.
And I think that what makes it so hard too is the variables. There are endless variables. Every blended family has a different story, different experiences.
Right.
And it's even hard when you're trying to glean advice from other people because you just feel like they don't understand me.
Right.
They can't possibly understand what I'm going through.
Right.
Even our parents, like talking with our parents about stuff like this,
It's hard.
and what we've got going with our family and our family situation. They'll give us advice, and it's like, it doesn't really work that way, Mom. It doesn't really work that way, Dad. Like, that's not, and I mean, you at least came from a blended family to begin with. I didn't. I have, biological parents who I'm close with, and this is a hard thing for them. It's a learning curve for them too.
I remember at the peak of my struggle, and I was actually questioning whether it was going to work. This is before we were married, and I was thinking to myself, "This is not going to work. I don't know if I can do this." I mean, like I'd get off work and I would drive around my neighborhood
because you didn't want to go
20 minutes
home.
Doing breath work like Lamaze, like I'm going to have a kid.
Yes.
Thinking, okay, they haven't done their chores. They're eating chips on the couch. It's 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm getting ready to cook dinner.
Shoes are on the sofa.
And of course, I'm already always listening. They've already done this, right? Which maybe not, but it's in my head.
Right.
I totally lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? In the peak of me struggling, I remember I was driving around, and I thought, I need to call my dad, my stepdad.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I need to tell him how much I appreciate him.
Right.
As OCD and as militant as he was to me, I tortured him until I was 15 years of age.
Yeah.
I gave, you're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do.
All the things.
All that stuff. And so I called him and I said, I just want to tell you that I love you so much, and I totally appreciate and understand what you went through. I mean, it was not just me. There were I had 3 other siblings. They just chose to stay with their biological dad because they were older, significantly older than I was. So they were in junior high and high school.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just, I said, you were amazing that you put up with that.
Well, it's nice. It's nice that you acknowledge it, but it's also, it's such a, that's kind of the light at the end of the tunnel for all of us blended families. That's what I keep saying. Like, let's eventually one day the kids are going to see. It might not be right now. It might not be in 10 years, but as they get older and they mature up and they wise up in their own situations, this is what's going to be like.
It's like a 401k. It's a post-pandemic 401k, right? Yeah. About 10, 15 years, we'll get a little kudo. Or I mean, that's not what we're doing it for, but I'm just saying. Sometimes it's nice for an acknowledgement.
It's nice to be seen.
Yeah.
Step parents have it hard.
Yeah, they do.
It's a thankless job with all the expectation, none of the power.
Right.
No power.
Right.
You're only given power, which if your spouse gives it to you, which I also want to acknowledge that your husband allowed you the space to have those tough conversations. Like you said, get out of my way and let me do this. And he must have been like, okay.
Yeah.
That didn't cause problems.
Right.
Because for a lot of spousal bio parents, they want that control. They don't want to be stepped on. And if they do give the step parent control or perceived ability to parent, then it causes fights in the marriage.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe you talked to my kid. That was a little harsh. Or like, undo what you did. So you're going to eat what I made for dinner, and that's the expectation.
Right.
Kid doesn't really eat and then makes a dinner in 3 hours, and that's allowed.
Right.
And it's like, well, I try to parent, but
she talks like she knows what she's talking about.
But you know what I mean? And
I
it's
totally
one of
get
those
it.
things, like, is that a hill I'm going to die on?
Right.
No. Do I feel disrespected? Yeah. Oh, well.
Right.
So that's either we're going to have problems in our marriage, or you let it go. But if you let it go, you always have that little, like.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I totally get it.
So I love, like, and maybe it wasn't perfect, like I'm like, this is perfect. Like, you were given the space, you implemented it, and it just worked. And look at the fruits of that was this relationship.
But I think he gave it because it was so incredibly uncomfortable for him to, so relinquishing that was like peaceful for him. I mean, it wasn't a power struggle in his eyes. It was,
nice.
I hate doing this. So this
yeah,
is great.
so it's nice you're stepping up and taking
care of it.
I
don't want to do
it.
this.
No,
he's given me quips here and there about,
for sure.
Yeah, that was too hard.
You're a little rough.
That was
hard.
rough.
Yeah,
you should.
Because it's out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, totally.
Sure.
Which is all right. There's a lot of stuff that Julie and I do that's out of my comfort zone, that's out of your comfort zone, and we're very different parents as far as the way we approach things. But at the end of the day, we do have the same goal in mind. We do have the kids' best interest in mind. We have our family's best interest in mind. And I think that's what unites. That's what you build on, and then you pick and choose like you did. You're like, all right, we'll step aside. I'm going to take this, and that complements one another. And that's what gets you guys.
Right.
But that's what teamwork is.
That is
it's
exactly what it is.
Allowing yourselves to complement each other and not getting hell bent on proving a point or asserting your power or, I don't know, whatever struggles that get in the way that blocks people from actually being a team and a united front.
Right.
And it is so important to try to do that as much as possible because the kids, when you're not a united front, they will tear you apart.
Oh
they see that.
They know that story.
And even when you are a united front, to your point, they will pit you against each other and try.
Right. And the beautiful thing is, the other thing about that is that in him relinquishing that to me, I also said to him, listen, the beautiful thing is I might have been too harsh. And if you think so, that's fine. Then let's have another conversation. The beautiful thing is it's not final, done, chapter, close, lock, keep thrown away. It's, okay, all right, let's have this conversation again. And then I was able to go back to him, my stepson, and say, hey, listen, you know, your dad brought to my attention. He thought I was a little harsh. And, you know, the cool thing was sometimes he'd tell me, yeah, I thought it was a little harsh. This is my stepson.
Right.
I said, okay, I'm sorry. So let's have this conversation again. Because now we're a week away from the event, and I'm done with it anyway. I don't give a shit about it anymore. But let me apologize to you. I did not mean to, you know. Wasn't that big of a, so it's beautiful because you can always go back. We're human beings.
That's it. And if you learn how to ask for forgiveness, you know, admit when you're wrong, take direction. We talked about it on last week's podcast. You know, you listen. And that's one of the biggest parts of communication. I literally talked about it last week. Is one of the biggest parts of communication is just listening and hearing.
That's right.
The other person.
That's right.
So it's such a big thing.
One of the 4 agreements.
And you can't expect kids to take accountability and responsibility if you don't do it. You
That's
don't model that.
Right.
Because I think that is a big struggle too. Like, we want our kids to be like accountable for their actions. We want them to be, you know, understanding when they do something wrong and accept responsibility when that's needed. But a lot of parents just won't.
Right.
They don't go there.
Right.
And it's a really sad missed opportunity for kids to grow. So I love that you instilled that by modeling, hey, I could have maybe handled this in a different way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That means a lot to kids, I
Yeah.
think.
Very forgiving.
Right?
Very forgiving. And
maybe we're born forgiving and we just get hardened to it.
We do. I
maybe
100%
we just
believe that.
Kids we're just born with open hearts, and we just, as we get hardened and shut down and blocked.
Well, think about how vulnerable kids are. The things they say.
They're so honest.
Right?
They're so
brutally honest.
It's hard.
That's another podcast episode. I
remember, like, I'd be in the grocery store with my, like, you know, toddler daughter, and I'm trying to check out, and she's on my hip, you know, whatever, and she, like, pulls my shirt out. I'm like, mommy fat, and, like, would grab my, like, stomach. I was, like, mortified, and she's like, oh, and she loved, fun. You know, I was like, but so mortified, but they just, no filter.
Right.
They just love us.
Mm-hmm.
Kids have no
flabby
filter.
skin at all.
Yeah.
So you came into your stepchildren's lives as teenagers, and we've talked about your stepson a little bit. Your stepdaughter and you had a kind of rocky start. Has that ever gotten better, or how did you work through that with her? As far as, because the stepmom-stepdaughter rub is, I had an evil stepmom. You had an evil stepmom.
I did.
We're girls. It's a stepmom.
Yeah.
Mothers and daughters have a hard time. They go through
do.
it too. So I'm wondering, with your stepdaughter, and she was the older of the two. So how did you work through that? What is advice you can give to to stepmoms of teenage daughters? Because that's a difficult spot to be in.
I think, and I'm still navigating it. There's still some rough waters.
Sure.
Like this last weekend, you know, her birthday is always close to Father's Day, so we see her once every 6 months now, and I think that's her choice. Because it's her perceived understanding of the household that, you know, I'm here. And
so she took you up on if he doesn't work for you?
Oh, yeah, but she wasn't.
Oh, but now she's not a minor anymore.
Yeah, no,
so
she's out. Yeah.
She's out. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, she just turned 25, so.
Oh, she's way out.
She's way out.
I can't even imagine. I'm like, what is that freedom like?
Yeah.
Do tell. Look, can I do this? Beaming.
Am I getting?
You're beaming, girl.
Whoop, whoop.
I see all that.
Yeah, because
energy.
it was a
rough.
It was very much an irritant between my husband and I, and because there's this dad-daughter thing.
Oh, daddy's little girl.
Oh my gosh, and it was painful because I was like, you don't see the manipulation that's going on. I mean, come on.
And no,
you're killing me here. You're killing me. It's so obvious. So what I decided was, and we kind of touched upon this earlier in the conversation, was I for my own self-preservation had to come to an understanding and an agreement with myself that I couldn't pick everything as a battle.
Yeah.
Because there were too many hills I was dying on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had to just take a deep breath and give myself some grace and say, you know, it's okay. And I told my husband the same thing. I said, you know what? I'm not going to raise the white flag, but what I'm going to say is this. I'm here. if I don't want to be a deterrent for her coming to visit you, and if you want to go visit her and I can stay home, I'm totally cool with that. I want you to have a relationship with your daughter. And if this is the way it's evolved, then so be it. I'm not hurt about that at all. I think we could have totally worked on that and been okay, but this is her choice. This is her thing. But if she comes, again, same rules apply. She has to respect the household and respect me in it, right? So as she's been away, she was away for school, and then she stayed in the area she went to school in. Our relationship has gotten better because I think the distance has improved things. And I think she's grown up a little bit. But I just let things go. I let it go.
And sometimes acceptance is freedom. It's not acceptance is just relinquishing power for the greater good, right? Like the greater good is the marriage and your life together. And, are you going to let money come between that, or a child, or, whatever
parenting.
I needed to get off my my hiccup with it being a failure. My relationship with her being a failure.
Oh. That bugged you.
I'm very persistent. And the funny part is both my husband and I are Capricorns.
Uh-huh.
So we are as stubborn as they come. And so
I love the circus. Big old bag of Capricorn.
That's not what she's talking about.
Anyway, no, but so when I was very liberated when I just said, it's cool as it is. I'll take it as it is. That's fine. Just as long as we're respectful to one another when we're around each other, I'm cool with that.
Well, look at it this way, too. You have a 25-year-old, you have a 25-year-old out of the house, for the most part, all your kids are out of the house or have been. But that is a win right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that you're at least able to get them out, whether they come back or not, in our area that we live in, it is a very, very financially hard area to live in. I think I was talking to someone the other day, and it was a small house, and the average going house rate for rent around our area is like $3,500.
What are people doing for work?
That's what I mean. So these kids that are, 18, 19, 20 years old.
Trying to find a place.
It's pretty wild. So, so that's kind of a win.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how all of your kids, like his and her kids, do they get along? How was meeting for the first time? Like how did that transpire and unfold, and everyone accepted everyone? Or
so what was really interesting was that, again, here I am with, I wanted to be like the step-parent guru. I wanted to make up for what I did as a kid with my stepdad. And so I was like, oh, we're going to make this really cool. So we were always trying to create new traditions.
Oh, fun.
That's neat. One of the things we did was I'm at home at the mountains, which is kind of funny that I live at the beach because I can't stand the sand or anything else. But anyway, so every year we'd rent a cabin the week between Christmas and New Year's and have all the kids up. And the kids got along great.
Nice.
They were
what a
totally
blessing.
Cool. They called each other brother and sister. They were loving, had great time together.
Like from day one, it just clicked?
Day one.
That's awesome.
Still, to this day, never any issues. In fact, it's kind of funny because my stepdaughter and my son are tighter, and my daughter and my stepson are tighter.
How funny.
I mean, like, literally.
What's the age difference?
Like communicating, calling, like
everything. Like the connection, yeah.
That's so
so my son is 25.
Okay.
I had to think about that. My son's 25. Yeah. And, because my stepdaughter and my son are close in age.
Okay, right.
She's trailing him by, I think, 6-7 months. And then my daughter's 29, and my stepson is 22.
Okay.
Oh,
so 7 years difference.
That's a big difference.
And then 6-7 months.
Wow.
Difference, yeah.
Crazy.
But that's got to be fun then when you get everyone together. It takes pressure off, especially if there's some kind of difficulty with like your stepdaughter and maybe it's just not so comfortable. But then it kind of takes the pressure off when the kids everyone's having fun and there's not the spotlight on a difficult relationship.
And also the good thing is they all call each other out on their stuff too. They're like, why did you give Mom such a bad time about that? I mean, what was that about?
Yeah.
Or what's going on with that? Or why didn't you just do it? I mean, it's easy. Just do it. I'm like, thank you, God. Somebody else is saying it. I don't have to worry about it.
Right. Yeah. Nice. Did you ever, you said you had contacted your stepdad and kind of just gave up an appreciation and understanding.
I cried on the phone with him and said, "Yeah, you're."
How did he was he shocked? Like, how did he
chuckled? I think he was a little taken aback by my
unexpected,
intensity.
Probably.
Yeah, the emotion that I had. I just said, I'm really going through a hard time here, and I love this man. I think I'd like to spend the rest of my life with him, but I'm ready to pull every single flipping hair out of my head right now. And
well, apparently you haven't.
No, but it went gray, as you can see.
Instantly.
Now I understand.
It was funny. Yeah, Lisa and I used to be neighbors. So
stop it. I didn't.
Her ex-husband, who that's actually a little area that we could go. Her ex-husband.
Really? Are you sure?
Well, I mean, not like deep, but you guys get along.
We do.
I'm only reunited with Lisa because of her ex-husband. He
is the one who told me about it.
Yeah, he hit me up and said, "Hey, do you remember my ex-wife Lisa? She's got a new business venture and is looking for someone to produce her YouTube series, The Chick Crew, and I think you guys would be a perfect fit." So we kind of put us back in contact. But going back to the hair color, I hadn't seen Lisa in probably 15 years. Yeah, and I mean, I recognized her right away, but
he was like, "Hey, is your daughter around?"
Yeah,
because I think I was her neighbor. No,
I called her ma'am.
I'm like, you didn't know. I'm like, yes, please, thank you.
No,
good.
No.
That's funny.
But her and her ex-husband get along well, and you did you guys co-parent much together, or how old were the kids when you guys got out?
Let's see. My daughter was it's all blur. 8 years.
Roughly, how old were they?
They were late teens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were still in the house.
My daughter, yes.
Yeah. How did the co-parenting go? So from the time of, I won't even call it divorce because some divorces last 3 years. But
I have adult. Yeah. Well, okay. I have two questions really quick to go back to your stepdad. Did he give you advice? Well, no. I just want to know, like you said, I'm at the end of, I'm like, did he say something brilliant? Because I would love to know.
I would have loved to
know
something brilliant.
Okay, I just want
to,
because I'm sure our audience is going to be like, what did he say?
I know.
But no. Okay.
No, I did say to him, how did you do it? Because I know I gave you a run for the money. I mean, I really, I said, I feel really bad because it took me until my 15th year, which was 11 years with you, to come to, my senses and say, I'm so sorry. I've been giving you a really bad time, and I'm just going to stop right now because I love you,
That's good.
And he said, it wasn't that bad.
Okay. All right. Like a total dude. You're looking you're looking for insight, and it's a guy, and you're realizing.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. Everyone has these crazy, step parenting horror stories.
Yeah.
I've been so blessed in the step parenting department from her kids to my non-biological real daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I've never had a kid that I'm like, dude, this kid is such a drag. Like, I want to strangle them. I've never experienced that. So I'm just sitting here bragging about what good children everyone else has made for me.
Well, and I think as the saying goes, I think time heals all wounds too. Right. And I think what he said is true. He doesn't have that. Because I remember there were days that he wanted to just slap me across the room.
For sure.
But I think that time just kind of.
All right. Well, time. Okay, that is profound, but you said it, not him, so that's fine.
Yes.
I was really hoping for a nugget there, but
for her own.
For my own. Because
for my own closure, right?
Well, no, but because it's like even the point of this podcast. It's like all the nuggets so that our lives can be. We make better choices.
Right.
We have more knowledge under our belt to try to navigate this really hard situation. So I'm always asking all the advice. But so co-parenting adult children though is interesting. Because I remember Eric and I were on a podcast, and I will never forget this as long as I live. I'm talking about how there's a light at the end of the tunnel when the kids are 18. And, we're not going to have to co-parent. And I'm we're on air and we're live. I'm sold out to this idea. And I'm like, just hold on, people. And Eric went ahead and let me know that he will always be talking to his ex-wife. We will always be in contact. And you see it on my, you see it on my face. And I'm live and I'm all, fuck me.
There it is.
It was the most awkward, horrible, horrific, reality check.
And then we get the negative reviews because now we're arguing
Oh yeah.
on air.
Yeah, because I'm like,
It's not
what the fuck do you need to talk about after like what the hell? Like no, like we have a
Right.
finish line. Like I get babies and I get like weddings, like but then the kids are adults and they navigate babies. Like
That's
they
right.
will tell us what they want and what we need in baby showers and who they want where. Weddings, they will tell us like, I need you to pitch in for this or help me plan that.
Right.
It's not co-parenting a wedding, right?
Right.
Please tell me.
No, it's not.
Or babies.
No, it's not.
No, I don't
I'm
expect
like,
it to be like
what?
that. But
So you just saw it like,
Oh, yeah.
It's, you know, it's,
No, I'm going to do you a solid right now. No.
oh,
so you don't. So that's my thing,
Thank
though. It's
you.
not like we're talking every month or every week or every day type of deal.
Right.
But I'm like, this person's
It's
still.
event-based. It's event-based, I think.
It is.
For adult kids, I think it's event-based. In other words, like, I don't know if my ex is going to listen to this podcast,
I'm going to
but
tell him.
I'm going to say that.
I'm going to cut this part out. I'm going to send it to him.
Yeah.
I have
Good,
his
okay.
number.
So I think he would like us to be the best of buds.
Okay.
In fact, if we could talk every day, he'd be totally cool with that. And we typically talk about the kids, but
Okay.
I mean, they're adults.
Yeah. Right.
I'm kind of over that
it's
conversation.
unnecessary.
Right.
Yeah.
And I get. I 100% on board with that.
Right.
100%. No,
Well,
I really am.
Also,
Right. Well, I mean, because what I've been through, I mean,
Yeah.
I chose it, right? But what
Right.
I've been through, I'm at the stage now where I'm like, kids are highly overrated. Let's just move on with our lives. But anyway, and so with that said, I actually had to go back to him and say, listen, so this is going to be an event-related relationship.
Okay.
In
Yeah.
other words,
Yeah.
one of our kids are in the hospital, something's going on, they're having a breakdown.
That's what I'm talking about, though.
They need money for something that is justifiable.
Right.
Okay, I'll have a conversation with you.
Right. And that was my point. My point was we're not going to be buddy-buddy. We're not
Right.
going to call each other and text each other and
Right.
have, not that we're even doing that right now. We're
Right.
nowhere near that.
Right.
My point was these people are always going to be in your lives because you are going to have events. You have an event-based life, whether it's good events like weddings or bad events like the hospital.
but I
Right.
feel like some
happens.
events are children led also.
100%. It's going to go from
Except for like when children aren't capable, like they're in money trouble, they're
Right.
in jail, they're in a medical facility,
Yeah.
and they cannot, like, they're that, of course, but like even celebrations are like, I don't know, like I just
don't see. I don't.
oh.
Well, again, you
But
really
it's
wanna
also-
know what I think because I'm going to be really clear about it. I just don't.
kind of.
Yes, be
my,
clear.
My thought is that it's going to go from being, let's call co-parenting 100% right now, even though it's not. It's going to go from 100% down to probably a 5%.
Right.
Oh, that's
You know what I mean?
good.
See, and
She
that's
never let
good.
me get there, though. We started arguing too
well, I
quickly.
don't know about
Oh, my
she
fault.
letting you get there. Maybe, yeah. Maybe
No,
you just
but-
didn't say it. Like,
No,
I
there
probably
was,
didn't.
there was Julie in a bathing suit on the beach, and I'm not your favorite place, with like, I had like my umbrella and my drink, and I'm sunning myself, and there's like nothing, and then he's like, nope. Me and the ex-wife are just gonna come up and we're
Arm
gonna
in
be
arm.
here all fucking retirement. It's gonna be us co-parenting.
And then the negative reviews just rolled in.
So
and that's what
I'm just
washed over
saying,
her on the
It
beach.
washed over me, and I was drowning
no, I mean,
now.
of course, we want a relationship, a
Just
decent
kidding.
relationship with our
Yeah.
exes
Yeah.
or the,
No,
the
it-
parents.
It just makes life easier.
It does.
It does. It
for
does.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's your honest opinion, though? You said you were going to give it.
I did.
Oh.
I said no.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
perfect.
event-based relationship.
I'm good. I'm great with that.
But
I'm
you got to
better than
define
great
the
with that.
event. That's
That's
the
it.
key. Is that
That's
you
it.
have to be again unified about what.
I know.
That was my point, though. Like
'cause
they
you can
just
make anything an
Sorry.
event, Lisa.
Yeah, but
Anything could be an event.
well, let me tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
What is an event for you?
Gosh, anything not
Anything.
having to deal with anyone.
Is an event?
No, is like I don't like events. I'm like very uneventful person. Wouldn't you agree? Like I
Okay,
prefer
so-
there to not be events.
Well, would you agree that hospitalization of one of the kids obviously is an event?
Yeah, I'm like
Okay.
we can get along and be there and
Yeah.
talk.
But you have to address the
situation.
issue because you have a kid
For sure.
in a critical situation.
For
Okay.
sure. Yep.
Weddings.
Yes.
Okay. Financial duress,
Mhm.
of which you're going to talk about splitting something or
Something like that.
helping them out or
Yeah.
whatever. Got
You're
it.
only helping my point here.
Right.
Yeah, that these people aren't completely out of your life
No,
after
no.
18.
Right.
Which
But
was
the
my point.
intensity and the percentage of that involvement
Goes way
yeah,
down.
so you clarified it. So
Yes.
I'm like done.
Yeah, she's
Done. We're
This
done.
is why I had her on here.
So go
just
back on
to-
the beach, Julie. You're all good.
I'm going back
Yeah.
on the beach with
Put
my
those sunglasses
watch
on.
her over.
yeah, and my umbrella drink.
Perfect.
Thank you. All right. think that's a good place to end.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys, thank you for joining us today. I don't even know what camera we're looking at today. We're all screwed up, you guys. We are going to have part 2 on next week. Stay tuned because you want to give them a little teaser? Do we want to give a little teaser?
Lisa's coming back next week.
Coming back next week right now wearing the same stuff, but part 2.
I only have 2 outfits.
Yeah.
Thanks to the pandemic. So I just only have 2 dress-up things that I wear, and I'm going to wear this next time too.
And I'm going to be in this jean jacket.
Well, and I started in the pandemic. I don't know if you know on the podcast, but I always wear a white T-shirt. It's always, I think, like 2, maybe 3 times.
That was actually genius. I wish I would have thought.
Yeah, it just makes it easy. Anyways, you guys, stay tuned for the next one. It's a doozy. We'll see you guys next time.